And there goes the brain already. At the end of the year, and yet still I can't switch channels without my brain doing a brain fart. Oh. So one of the cats is moving around now. She's cleaning herself, but maybe she's gonna get up. Because I don't want to start talking and have to get up to let you out. Hmm? No, she's fine, she's just cleaning herself. Well, yes, welcome to a fine Saturday evening. Yeah, there it goes again. There it goes again. So yeah, today is the last stream of 2022, which is weird to think it's gone that fast, but it has. It's funny. I always collect my thoughts before starting, and then like, yes, I got what I want to say, and then it just fucks off like it usually does. But yeah, I think because today's stream we're going to be going through like because I've never done a tier list before, and I thought it'd be fun to go through all the games that I've played on and off stream and rank them. Obviously there will be spoilers because I can't talk about why the game's going in different rankings without, you know, going into more detail about them. So obviously if you've not played mostly pretty much every game that came out this year, I mean of course I've got like a spoiler, I got ways of like a thing to put up when I go into spoilers, so that you know that I'm spoiling what game, so you can like mute. Or in case of anyone watching the VOD, they want to know how long to skip to. But I think we'll talk about like what I'm going to do in the year at the end of the stream. But at least that's before we get started, let's talk about this year. I think it's been pretty good as far as streaming goes. I focused, my main goal was to get 50 followers, which we did, which is pretty awesome. I mean, we're at 76, so almost 100, which is wild. Because I've said this before, I used to do Let's Play content, and one of the reasons, there's loads of reasons why I stopped doing it. Main reason it just wasn't fun anymore. I think back to when I started on that, and it took me like 4 years to even get to 100 subscribers on that. And the fact that we're only 2 years next year, and we're already close to 100 followers. Just wild. But the other one was also just to focus on having fun. Not worry too much about what games I want to play or how to play them. It's like that to a degree. There were still points where I was points where we did why, but I'm getting there. I got to learn some piece. Oh, hang on. Knew it. I knew it as soon as I started. No, wait. Okay. What's on the towel? What's on the towel? Because it's warm. So I'm trying to walk now. Oh no! Now she does want to go out. Alright. It's funny, before both of them were actually in here, both cats were in here, and before I was about to go live, Bells wanted to go and went out. Russell was still here, and I was like, is she gonna go out? Want to go up? There she does. They never stay asleep when I'm streaming. It's like the minute they know I go live, like, okay, time to get up and want to go out the room now. Yeah, but so far, like I think the other thing is also having more people talking in chat was surprised, because I think the first year back in 2021 there wasn't that many people talking in chat, but having people more often chatting was a surprise, and still very much nerve-wracking. Every time I see a comment pop up, I'm like, fuck, people talking. My brain went dead. That's one thing. I guess I'll say one thing. I'm going to try not to worry too much is being too much of a scatterbrain and worrying about people getting annoyed. We've got like hours of streaming, and I have to worry about trying to collect my thoughts because I think Because I've watched sometimes Project Melody, because most streamers, unfortunately, most streamers do tend to follow American, and most of the times their stream schedules are while I'm in bed, but most of the times when I do watch at least her, she is much as scatterbrained as I am, and always pauses to think for stuff. Because it's always that feel of like if I take too long pausing, people are just going to leave. It's like, oh, he's wasting my time or something. It's important to collect my thoughts and pull that information out nice and good. No, I can't think of anything else. No, I can't. My brain went dead completely. It'll probably pop out as we go along. I've always wanted to do different content on stream. Different stuff outside of gaming. Doing tier list makes sense, because last year I didn't do one because I didn't really play much games last year. But this year, on the other hand, towards the end of this year, no times that fucking alert goes off, it still startles me. Thank you for the follow. Especially towards the end of this year, because when we do this tier list, it's going to be kind of hilarious, because most of the beginning of the year was barely, at least me personally, there wasn't much to play. How are you? I am a bit of a scatterbrain today, is the best way of putting it, but all the same, I'm fine. And I just noticed something on the stream that the little thingy here is fucking the bloody chat. You go down there. And you? And me can go down there. I guess. Do you stream regularly? Yes, I do. I stream Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. That's what just clicked into my brain, because I didn't stream Thursday and Friday because of work, because my schedule works because of the holidays. The usual times I work were switched around, and I didn't. And then several times they switched at the last minute what time I was going to be working, so I didn't want to bother streaming those days. There, the brain finally clicked in. That's why I didn't stream yesterday and Friday. And I don't usually stream around these times, but had some things to do beforehand. I usually stream around like 12 PM, because it's when I'm less of a scatterbrain. Less, but not as much. Yeah. That's about it. Which my work will be back to normal time shifts, so schedules will be back to normal next week. Then I usually have work around like 5 PM UK time, that is. But not on the weekends, which is also good. That's why I also stream on a Saturday to get a good old weekend streaming. But I think enough babbling. I think we'll get started on the tier list now. Yeah, so the categories I put in was didn't play, which is like kind of self-explanatory. I didn't play them. There's a lot of games. Some games just don't interest me as much as others. Okay just means it was okay, had fun, amazing. And games of the year, this is games of the year, so I'm using it as kind of like a category, that it was that good that it was game of the year for me. And it's also because I'm an indecisive a-hole who can't always pick just one, especially in certain years of games. So when it goes up here, it just means it's that good, and doesn't necessarily is the game of the year, or maybe. And I have. This is a warning. So because like I said, you talk about the games and can't talk about the games without spoiling the stuff. So this will go up each time I put a game in for those jumping in, and for the VOD watchers so they know when to skip ahead, and obviously I'll take it away when I'm done spoiling. But I think we will start off with, there's going to be a lot here, because at the beginning I didn't play a lot. Didn't play that. Wow, did that really come out this year? Wait, damn. Didn't play. Yes, I didn't play this either. My main reason for not playing Pokemon Arceus, however you fucking pronounce this Pokemon's name, is because the main crutch of the game was about catching. And oh yes, it's about all catching them all, but for me with Pokemon it's usually like the battling and the catching is what I like about it, and just everything about it just didn't seem really my cup of tea. And I was also unemployed at the time, so I couldn't really afford much games I wasn't entirely sure I was going to enjoy, because I recently got back employment in March this year, which is I guess a good kind of personal highlight. It means I can afford to buy more games. This I didn't play because I mean I liked the first Dying Light, but it's zombie, because that came out in which one was 2015? At that point I wasn't that done with zombies. I don't mind things that has zombie-esque lights to, like in say like Dead Space or Crystal Protocol, or even The Last of Us, but when it's just straight up zombies, it's like, Didn't play. Sifu, don't like brutally hard games. That's just the simple fact. I just don't like games that are unnecessary. Oh, I didn't play. Didn't play. Was it this year? Didn't play. Aha! So we go to the first game I did play at the start of this year, and that is Horizon Forbidden West. So I am going to put this up now to know that I am spoiling this. Let's spot out that. So we're spoiling Horizon. Well, not to start off with, but the reason is I had fun. I mean, Last of Us. Wow, I'm getting my games mixed up here. Horizon Forbidden West. The original Horizon game is like, the best way I've always thought of it is like the anime Black Clover. If you've never heard of Black Clover, it's very much an anime that follows pretty much every trope of shonen, which isn't the same bad thing, and it knows it. It knows, hey, you like these tropey things, we're gonna throw it into you for you. And Horizon's kind of like with open world action games, where it doesn't do anything relatively new, but it knows what people like and has all the fun, mostly fun stuff about open world games. And as far as like gameplay goes, it was more of the same, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But when you've got a game that was kind of just good on its gameplay and it's just more of that, it's not much. I mean, the only interesting cool thing was when they added like the flying bird thing at the end, but that was like towards the end, so I was like, that's one thing I do hate with games, is where they give you like a cool new thing, and it's like, yeah, it's at the end, it's close to the end of the game, so you might not end up using it. But it does suffer some of the problems with open world games, is jam-packing it with a little too much to do that isn't necessarily fun. I didn't do much of the side stuff, and I'm still debating about even planning it. But it was a lot of fun. Games like Horizon, I think what keep me going is more of the story than the gameplay. The gameplay ends up being so fun and enjoyable, but what keeps me playing through that, despite some that's like not problems but overblown, is the story. And because the whole crutch of this game is that the world's dying due to a my brain went down on me again. Because this was at the start of it, so I was trying to remember this. Someone scratching the door? I think one of the cats wants to come in. Come on. Okay. Shit. Oh shit, it's all tangled. was it the same kind of same plague which almost destroyed all of humanity in because Horizon is a post basically after the whole entire humanity was destroyed and then recreated from the humanity was reborn from like the cells of other humans. And it starts off pretty much a simple, hey, let's go and find all the AIs to help eradicate this thing. But then something pops up where we first find out that some original humanity fled Earth and found a new home. And we find they're coming back, and the first thought is there's the descendants of those people. But then we find out it's not the descendants, it's the same people, and they found their ways to of unlocking immortality. And that was interesting because it kind of made sense because if the people lock the keys of never aging, it would be a bunch of rich assholes. And it was always that intriguing thing to see where it was going next and why they fled. Why did they leave Earth and then come back to a new world and then want to take over it again? And it's because they created an AI program with all their EOs, and that AI was coming to destroy them and is now heading to the same Earth. And that makes it exciting for like the next game. That's what I think about that Horizon Zero Dawn is that I'm excited to see where the third one goes because it's like I say, it's the story that gets you going than the gameplay more than the gameplay with Horizon, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Games have proven over the years to have great story. Hello. Okay. Just always be awkward. My chair and desk are like not completely near one, but the chair kind of sits like almost like between them. Sometimes when she wants to get on my bed, she'll jump up onto the desk, walk round, and walk onto a chair, then get onto the bed instead of jumping up. But yeah, because I'm trying to remember if they did actually anything like gameplay wise, added anything new. I remember they had like patch song was kind of hilarious where Aloy kept saying that I'll take this to my stash, and it got really annoying, and they had to patch her out to make it less. It's kind of the daftest things to remove. Oh yeah, there was the thing where they added like the special move things, which were kind of fun, and being able to ride. There's more robots than. That's the other thing I do like about Horizon is the cool robot designs. We always say robot dinosaurs, but it's actually only like one that's actually, well, one or two that are dinosaur like. Most of them are all animal likes. But yeah, I think that's basically my thoughts on Horizon. It was a fun game. It wasn't the best game. It wasn't okay game. Like I said, I don't think there's any games this year that were bad for me that I played. I mean, there was games that were considered bad, but I didn't play them, so there's no point of putting them. So take that off now, and we'll keep going with didn't play. Didn't play. This is going to piss off a lot of people, but Elden Ring, same reason with Sifu. Do not into brutally difficult games. If you want to play games that beat the little crap out of you all the time, more power to you. More power to you. They're just not for me. Didn't play. This one was kind of a disappointing one because like the first, like Babylon's 12, like the first, like, does anyone want to come in now? No. Looked amazing, and they just tried to squeeze it into like a free-to-play, well, not free-to-play, like games to service game, which was disappointing. Didn't play. Not into racing. Didn't play. Didn't play. Didn't play. Because I didn't play. Didn't play. Didn't play. Didn't play. Didn't play. Didn't play. I don't like Persona. Not really a fighting game person. Didn't play. Didn't play. Same reason, because I believe this is more Dark Souls than it was. Didn't play. 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 It's not I might play in the near future, like these two, maybe. Not sure if I want to stream or stream. Because once again, even though when I did finally get out of the unemployed route, I didn't get a full pay cycle until where's that brain of mine going? Until like the 400 month, and even then I was still trying to be careful because I was on probation. This is always the thing, I've always been so cautious with my money, because especially when you're in a probation period, you're not sure you're going to have the job by the end of it, even though because you don't want to go ham on spending money and then realize, oh shit, they didn't want to keep me on for some various reasons, because I know that can happen. Didn't play. Because a lot of these games came out like around like January, February, like February time and March. Didn't play. There's going to be a lot of didn't plays here. Didn't play because I didn't see really the point. What made the original Wii Sports fun was playing with my family members, and they don't really play games these days that much. Didn't play. Not really a Talos person, so didn't play. Played the original Sonic games, didn't see the reason to play that. Didn't play. Because it wasn't until towards the end of the year that I started playing a lot of games. Didn't play. Oh, I almost thought I can see it just down here, but it's best we get through this. Didn't play. This is not one of those ones that I want to play eventually when I can. But it's feeling in the mood for that. Play, and here we are with Stray. Hey, rhyme. Okay, Stray. Oh, fuck. There we go. Is going to go in. Same one. I had fun. I know for. Okay, I'll get the spoiler thing back up. Where's that brain go? I keep hearing a bell ring out of the corner of my ear, and I keep thinking it's the other cat, but it's just you moving around, isn't it? Was people's games of the year, but having more time to think about, I definitely had fun with it. Because like if you want a game that simulates playing a cat really well, Stray definitely does. I liked its kind of like sci-fi-ish, like almost cyberpunk like aesthetic. I liked that there's points where it turned into a motherfucking horror game with some creepy ass disgusting and shit I was not expecting to see coming. I like the idea of, because those games always do lots, but a handful of stories in general always do the idea of humanity completely being gone altogether, rather contrary to what thing did I put on my playlist here? This is not on Spotify, because I know on stream it won't be, the audio won't be here. Yeah, okay. Where's my brain going? And then the kind of the implications that humanity isn't completely gone, and they transferred all their minds into the robots. But it was a very cute, creepy, sometimes creepy but fun game. And it's one of those fun, like, short games which you don't get much these days. Every game feels like they have to be 20, 30 hour games. You have a nice 10. When it was that 6 hour game, it was nice and fun. Like I said, one of the games that I do want to platinum at some point, when I get a chance, because I enjoy it that much. Thankfully, there's no trophy for playing on the hardest difficulty set, because games. Let me just talk about something. So we played the last game we definitely finished on stream was Callisto. Enjoyed it, and I looked at the trophy list, and there's one for being on the hardest difficulty set, and I thought was past this bullshit of not having to beat games on the hardest difficulty set. There's an exploit of getting around. I've been trying to do it, but it doesn't seem to work. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts on Stray for now. Okay, next. Now we're gonna have to go through a lot because it wasn't until like September until there was Digimon Survive. I didn't play for the simple reason that it's voice acted, like really fully voice acted, but not English. As someone who I could read reasonably well, but if it's going to have voice over all the way through, why not English? If it was done by an indie company, I would understand. Like with Stray doesn't have any VO in it, but that's done by a small studio, so I can understand that. But it's not the first time fucking Namco, Bandai Namco, if it's saying name, has done that with Digimon. Like Digimon's story side, so it didn't have any English VO in it. Ignore this. I know it's a little stupid negative not to play again, but I don't want to spend so much time reading. If you're gonna have if you're not gonna bother having, especially weeks if you're not gonna bother having Japanese studio, if you're not gonna bother having both Japanese and English VO, don't have any VO altogether. If it's a small studio, I can understand why they can't afford to do that. But when you're being published by someone like Namco Bandai, they could at least fit the bill to have 2 separate voice acting in it. Didn't play. That's another one that is on the list to play maybe at some point. It's just there's so many games coming out around this point, I think, and it was just like, ooh, maybe. Didn't play. Not really, once again, not one of those games, not really my cup of tea. Didn't play. Are those 2 Ninja Turtle stuff? Yeah, I think because that was a actual sequel. This was like a collection of all Ninja Turtle stuff. Didn't play. Not into fighting games as recently pointed out. Didn't play because I didn't see the point of playing it. The way you played this, I'm not really that much of a critical person, but I've never been so pissed to see a remake of a game that didn't need a remake. And I've seen a lot of the theories on why The Last of Us 1 was remade, and it was because of the TV show, which makes no sense in my opinion, because the TV show is not out until next year. My thought process was they wanted to put it on PC because you need to play this one in order to play 2. They don't want to report 2. And I think some stupid Sony executive thinks that every game needs to be super high detailed or no one on PC will play it, which is stupid, and that's why they remade it, because they were worried that no one on PC would play it unless it was like the most detailed thing ever. That's just my thoughts on that. And apparently they're going to be remaking the first Horizon game. I hope it's a remaster and not actually a remake, because there's another game franchise that does not need a remake. Didn't play. Ah, now here we go. Splatoon 3. I am going to put it in. I'd say had fun. This is no example with, well, not really example for Horizon. It's more of the case of like, the old saying, if it ain't broken, don't fix it, right? Sort of things. Like, they just improved on what made the last one. Because I feel like this felt like more of a sequel. Because Splatoon 2 generally just felt like a Splatoon 1.2. Splatoon 3 in a hand. I don't think there's a point of putting a spoiler warning up, because there's not really much to talk about the story of the game. Which is, you know, usually the fun little thing, which is always surprisingly always, you know, maybe just in case I start babbling, I forget that can be counted as a spoiler. Like, at least, like, always, because the main focus is multiplayer. And usually when a game's main focus is multiplayer, the single player stuff tends to be a whole heaping pile of dog shit. But as Splatoon is always, well, I guess I'm playing on again. Proven time again, and the same with this one, that they actually put the effort to make a really good single player. And and this one is no exception. And I like that at least they changed up the villain in this one. Instead of being what's fucking Octopus's name, DJ Octo, something I can't remember. I'm not very good at names. They add a new threat. It seems to be turning everything fuzzy. The implications on it is that that some thinks Splatoon is another one of those that's weirdly post-apocalyptic again, where all humanity is dead, and some reason all amphibian creatures evolved to walk on land. Oh, I can hear one of them scratching. I knew it. Come in? Come in? Yeah. Right. Let's keep an eye on her because now they both want to come back in. There's any chance they might. Sometimes we'll circle around the room and then go back out again. You want to do that? You see? No, she's gone under the bed. One cat on top of the bed, one under the bed. What was I going? That there's basically faux creatures because the end of the game you fight a giant fucking grizzly bear. As far as the story goes. Just wild. But like this single player story, it seems like they took elements from not just the last single player, but also the DLC from the last game. And there's probably going to be some story DLC for that. I haven't played much of the multiplayer, but it is, you know, once again, just improving on what made the previous one fun. That's not what I might want to try and stream at this point, at some point. Some of this multiplayer stuff at least. Because I've played only a bit of it since launch, and I wouldn't mind playing some more. Once again, so I guess because unfortunately the game that I keep playing most off stream is Genshin Impact in my spare time. Because I keep doing so many events, and it's like there's those primo gems. I need them because I'm waiting for them to drop fucking gear so I can get her and put her in my party. And still waiting. And I want to make sure I've plenty of wishes to get her. I do at least try and do the Splatfest because that's always like that's the other thing the Splatfest stuff where it being like the final round being a freeway one instead of being 2 against 2, which is an interesting fuck my brain. Yeah, that's basically it. Or the fucking goddamn it on Splatoon. Great. If anything else pops in my brain, I will add it. Okay, that. Aha! Now this. I know exactly where I want to put. Well, where'd it go? Vanish! Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Did it get dropped in here by accident? Where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? How did it... I was going to stick it here. Did I destroy it? Where did it go? Do I have to refresh the page? Where did the freaking Planet 2 one go? Not really in here, is it? Yes, it is. It got dropped in there. There we go. That's where it went. Okay, no. Amazing. This is one of. So this is actually no, because no, we did play Stray on stream. I forgot to mention that we did play it on stream. As usual, I do archive all my streams on YouTube because obviously they're only there for a week. That's another thing that we've got to change this year. Was that originally, if you weren't affiliated, the streams would be on here. The VODs would be on here for like 2 weeks. They changed it just for a week. But this is amazing because this is one of the games. Oh wait, spoiler thing. sequels that I was waiting for ages. I didn't play the first one. Oh shit, yeah, I'm burping a lot. And until at least 2 years after the original release, so I've been waiting at least 6 years. Damn, a lot longer for other people. And it's one of those, like, when it's someone's like first IP, or whether it's a new IP in general, it's always exciting to see, when especially when you really enjoyed the previous one and wanted to see what they could improve in the sequel. This is one of the sequels that I was just excited to sit down. I mean, the first and foremost thing I think was just the best thing is changing the designs. Like the original game, the character designs and that was good, but it still had very Sonic-esque like to it. The new designs have it more of their own original style and looking much different. And just improving on so much. I like the idea of the overmap stuff on the world of like and then having like hub worlds to explore. I love that kind of like little bit of exploration to go around and explore. My brain, god damn it. And the added idea of items was a cool thing of like trying to mix and match what items would you want to help play the game. Yes, words. I knew this was a bad idea because words are not good with my brain. But just so amazing. And then the story stuff, just those are that fun, enjoyable adventure story with there's great humor, great moments in the game, like finding out that more stuff about the dragons, because they talk about dragons a lot in this, and I still don't ever remember mentioning that Lilac was a water dragon, but I guess she is. And it's another one of those ones that if they do a third one, I'm really excited to see where they go story and gameplay wise. I think the only gripe I would have with it is not being able to play through the characters, like switching through the story, having to play through, if you wanted to play through them a lot, having to play through, you start the game several times over. It's not bad for you if it's been like months after played, but at that moment I would be fine to just like choose a level, any of the levels, and then switch between each character on the fly. Would have been more fun to see what they like. But it's also, this just coming to consoles, and I have my fingers crossed they put a platinum trophy, because that's one of those games. This is one of the games that I loved it so much I would want a platinum in it, and I'm hoping they do, because it didn't do it with Freedom Planet 1. And I hope they do it with Freedom Planet 2, because I wouldn't mind tipping it again, buy it again on PS4, well 5 would be, and going for that platinum if it has one. Hopefully it does. Yeah, that's basic. One thing it's going to show is once we get closer to like October and November, I'm going to have a bit more clarity to talk about, because there's still more recent. But still got a lot to go. Didn't play. Did I when it came out of early access? How about that? Didn't play. It's funny how going through all these in hindsight, it seems like there was a lot of games I played this year, but then we go through this and look at this so far. There's a lot of it didn't play. Here we go. Oh, I don't know why it says Overwatch 1.1, but I know exactly where I'm putting this. Overwatch 2, I mean 1.1, is in the OK. I mean, if we're talking about gameplay stuff, it's basically Overwatch 1. Which is a fun game, and another game that I do want to play more of. Not necessarily a bad game by the stretch of nations, but not an amazing or fun game. Well, not fun, just kind of okay. And it feels like a game was definitely just shan out, because the stuff that would have made it feel like more like a sequel is the co-ops, the PvP, the basic stuff that was going to have maybe more story stuff and have you play with players instead of against players, and that's not out until next year. And the battle pass is not necessarily a bad idea, But seeing how much they charge for like just buying DLC characters outright, makes you want to just stuck with loot boxes, because at least with loot boxes you could get characters, get skins without even spending money. On the original Overwatch, I did. I got like a lot of skins with spending any money. And same even with like Genshin Impact. I've been playing Genshin Impact since it came out, and I've not spent any money, and I've got a lot of characters. And that wouldn't be the worst part of it if they. I just realized, well, there's not really much to spoil. There's not much story-wise. There's no reason to put a spoiler warning for that. It's like it feels. Do you know what it feels like? It feels like a bad breakup with that game. I mean, it's just like, you know, like Activision Blizzard is being bought by Microsoft, and them doing this stupid shit seems like their way of like just screwing them. Like they're being like mad that they're getting bought out, and they're like, fine, we'll just put all this crap in this game to squeeze money out, make everyone else mad, and leave Microsoft to pick up the pieces from that. Because it's bad enough that the skins are on a battle pass, putting heroes in them puts it potentially to be a free play to win thing, especially if a hero's abilities are better than others and could change the game. Having them locked behind a battle pass, at least having you spend money every time they announce a new hero, just seems silly. But it's one of those things. Hopefully, still early days of Overwatch. Hopefully, they might change that. But yeah, just basically an okay game, not really a sequel until they add the other stuff to it. But moving on. Didn't play. Definitely didn't play that, because the reviews in that weren't particularly good on it. Didn't play. Ah, here we go. One game that I played for myself, and but an amazing set. Bayonetta 3. Another one of those games I decided to play for myself, and another game that was a long-awaited sequel, and it was definitely amazing. Oh, right. Almost forgot. We are going to go into spoilers. I had my thoughts and they just fucked off again. I mean, start off with like, Bayonetta is Bayonetta. Like, it's another one of those that can improve in the gameplay. Just fun, over the top action stuff. I know like multiverse stuff is an overplayed thing, but I think Bayonetta makes it really fun of having these different types of Bayonettas show up, and I like the idea of having like her summoned monsters being part of the gameplay instead of being like a final attack move sort of thing. And then, as usual, the different weapons, by getting different weapons from going to different parallel worlds, was just something fun. I guess I'm playing. One thing I think, a weird thing I didn't find out is that a lot of people found the ending controversial, which is weird. I'm not sure why. Is it because they decided to basically kill off Bayonetta and have Viola kind of take them, because technically Bayonetta's real name is Teresa, and so it makes kind of sense that, which is what I always say with story. Bayonetta's never really known for like the best storytelling. It was kind of obviously Viola was her daughter. Maybe they didn't like the idea of like her taking over and they want Bayonetta, but I don't know. I think it could be fun to have a full game as her. I think one of the other gripes most of the only gripe I would have was that it was cool to have different characters players, but it did always throw me off that to do witch time, which is the slow down time thing, that with Viola it's block and not dodge, and I had to always reconfigure my brain to remember that. But that might just be more of a me problem than anything. And her fucking music, I mean, I think I have it on my list here, like Well, this is already butt rock stuff here, but where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? This is just like kick-ass butt rock music. Just amazing, and it's just one of those things they just like to just scale the over-the-topness. And I think it's one of those franchises that this third was finally given its like dues that it needed. Like, although the last two were really amazing, this one I feel like it's just been the best out of them, and there always is plans to do more of that. I mean, they're doing the spin-off game next year, which is just awesome. It's always cool to see a franchise that has been kind of considered underrated finally getting its the recognition it deserves. But as far as the story goes, I thought it was really interesting that they decided to. It kind of confusing a little bit. Like, I thought about it a lot since then. Like, basically, all the different Bayonettas from the last two games. The last two Bayonettas were other parallel versions of Bayonetta, meaning that the stories of the two games still went the same way as with all three of them, up to at least the third one, but differently. But I kind of liked that idea, because one of the things when we go to like multiverse power versions, people always do this wildly different versions of people. Well, a lot of times the idea of the many worlds interpretation is that sometimes it's not just big changes, but small changes, meaning your life could go the same way as another version of you, but something different. Slightly different, hence different clothing. For example, I've never dyed my hair. My hair in real life is brown. I've never dyed my hair because I never see the point of it, because you have to keep getting it redone. But there might be another version of me who said, fuck it, I'm going to dye my hair, and his life went exactly the same as mine as it is now, but he just has blue hair. And that's kind of like, I like the idea of like those Bayonettas' lives went very, very much the same, but they just wear different outfits. But it's one of those another. I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do with the sequels. And it's one of those ones that don't mind waiting. These are one of those games where I'm not really bothered about like my brain went dead. Oops. Let's switch wheels back to how long was this? Well, let's just go here. I mean, it's another platinum game. I mean, my sister's also Bayonetta fan. She's bought my copy of it, and she was talking about like how she, like the whole werewolf thing with Luca. That was like really surprising. Like, it was kind of obvious that Fiona was both Luca and Bayonetta's daughter. It could have been like more blatantly obvious, but that was surprising to see him like go all werewolf mode on. And then her having a similar like, I mean, it does remind a bit of Devil May Cry, which is understandable. Most of I think what made up platinum games when they first was people who worked on the Devil May Cry games. So it's why most of the games have a similar vibe with that. I think about also like with Bayonetta getting more recognition. I think it's because over the last couple of years since the last one, which was 2014, which is bloody wild. It's been that long. Is the recognition of doing so many other games since then? I think they've reached like a good handful of games even this year alone. But yeah, I think that's basically my thoughts on Bayonetta 3. once again, if anything else pops up, I will mention it. I obviously didn't play Call of Duty. Didn't play, blah blah blah. Didn't play. Yeah, there's a lot of didn't plays today. Didn't play. Yeah. Now here's one we did play on stream. This is gonna piss off a lot of people. Let's go in there. So here's the thing. I feel like with most people when it comes to like game of the year, oh wait, they think of games that are, you know, the highest detailed of gameplay, hundreds of hours, you know, completely high polished, which fair enough. For me, what makes a game of the year is these three things. Constant fun and enjoyment. What was I constantly thinking about when I wasn't playing it, and was I always excited to play it again? Not to say it wasn't with these games, but when you're like every day, like, man, can't wait to play some more of this, and that was definitely this, because this was another one of those Sonic games where Sonic Frontiers or Sonic Forces, they basically shipped the bucket with Sonic Boom. Then years passed by and I was like, are they ever going to come back from this? And Sonic Forces was like kind of, you know, okay. You know, Frontiers looking quite good, but there was some problems, and it turned out to be just amazing. Like I've always said this, one of my biggest issues with open world games these days is they feel like they have to bloat the game out with too much stuff. And there's nothing wrong with having lots to do in open games, but when it's there just to pan out time, then it just ruins the fun. Because like, I think the total clock time for Sonic Frontiers was like 22 hours, but it felt like 10 hours. Think that, that's a 22-hour playthrough that felt like 10 hours, which to me is good because it didn't feel like it overstayed its welcome. Just the funness of running around, collectible stuff was still fun. There was a lot of it, but it had purpose. Well, against collectibles just for the sake of adding collectibles, but each collectible at least has a purpose, and there's ways of different ways of getting them. I think. And then the excitement facing the Titans. I thought going super mode several times over would be boring, but it wasn't, because each Titan was different. This epic with just like fucking good music. Just songs always had good music, but Jesus Christ, the music in them just amazing. Where's it going? And the cyberspace things were cool, but I would have loved more different levels than just the same levels with different change in old games. But it's something they could do in the future, I guess. And story-wise, I really enjoyed the story. Like going into lore of the Chaos Emeralds, showing that they possibly came from a different world instead of actually from the Sonic world or from our Earth. And even some character moments with Tails feeling that he's useless and dealing with those. Knuckles feeling like an outcast because he's the last of his kind. And Sonic Frontiers might be a game we come back to later in the year because they've got which are completely free. My brain went dead. And one of those is DLC, but it's the story DLC, which is like the last one, so it might not be until like towards the end of 2023. Which is cool, and it's free. Like most games that do roadmap stuff is like season passings, but it's like it's free. It's like, wow. And then the other stuff of like adding like references to old Sonic games and not just the 2D Sonic games like they always do. Some of the 3D Sonic games, some I was not even surprised to see references like stuff like Sonic Unleashed, which is one of my favorite Sonic games. Even Sonic 06 to a degree, because when they talked about like Chaos Emeralds being used by ancient civilizations, is not a common thing. I felt like that was kind of a nod to that. Even Boom, because there's a point where Amy mentions sticks. It could be one of those things where Boom isn't canon, but they just took sticks from there, which makes me wonder: is sticks going to appear in future Sonic games? In the near future. That's another thing that would my brain. The boss fight, like one thing that just definitely reminded how much it definitely felt like they took all the good bits from the previous Sonic games and put them into there. Like the final boss fight being in space was just cool. Just like I know the final thing was just you pressing the buttons, but like made me think of like Sonic Unleashed. Like there was so much going on Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Adventure series, even not so much Sonic Heroes. And it's one of those things, I said it at the end of the stream of that series, but I hope they stick with it. Because I know what they're like. Ever since Sonic 06, they kept doing something new with Sonic and not sticking with Sonic. So my fingers are crossed that they are going to stick with and are going to take their time. They seem to be somewhat doing that. If they did like a thing like, if they still wanted to analyze it, like next year ends up being like last year with Sonic Colors, maybe like a remaster of another old 3D Sonic game that's not available on current systems, like, you know, Sonic Unleashed, for example. And the other thing is, if they do the hunt for the Chaos Emerald things, I think it would be cool to like at least mix up different ways of collecting them, because I think that's the only thing that did get time, is collecting them up the same way. But thankfully, it never felt like it took too long. Like it was never like there was never a grind to halt and spend agonizing amounts of time trying to collect or level up. It's another thing that more games do more, especially with Assassin's Creed. After Origins, I stopped playing because there was always this forced grinding to get to the next level, where I had to spend too much time leveling up just to get to the next level, and I couldn't just like mainline. I had to grind. It's not worse than forced grinding. I'd say that I am excited for the Assassin's Creed whatever it's played called, which seems to be more back to the classic Assassin's Creed games. Yeah, but I guess that's kind of it for Sonic Frontier. My voice is Sonic Frontiers. Hope they stick with it. Hope they don't just abandon it and try and do something new again. Okay, next. God of War Ragnarok, which was... Now here's the difficult thing I have with this. I want to put it here, but I kind of want to put it here because, as we talked about games taking their time, there's points in God of War Ragnarok that felt like it was taking its sweet ass time, but the same, still would put it here. Because to me, it's always like another thing. What puts these high up in this is did the pros outweigh the cons? What it made it, parts I didn't like, did it outweigh what was good? And at certain points, it taking its time. No, I don't think it generally did. But let's get into spoilers of God of War Ragnarok. As I said before, with many of these games, it just went and improved on what made the game and fixed some of the problems of the games. I think one of my main issues with God of War 2018 had was not enough variety in boss fights outside of Boulder and blanking on the two guys' names. Thor's two sons. That was it as far as boss fight, and one dragon boss fight. Every boss fight was always the same, like bloody troll person fight, and there's no like more any variety, more boss fight or even mini boss fight varieties. The only gameplay thing I didn't feel like was necessary was the shield thing, because once you got back your old shield, I just stuck with that. I get the idea of having different types of shields and different abilities, but I think I really just ended up sticking with the shield. But when they added the drop me a spear, that was like, holy fuck, that's awesome. Like, it's one of those games. I think that's one of the things I did like about the new God of War games. Don't get the old ones were great. They did have an overabundance of weapons. I think always the problem with games you have too many weapons is that you're always going to stick to like the set 3 or 4 you're going to use, and you don't really bother using the other ones. You feel forced because there's always a trophy to level up every single weapon. As I've said this, my favorite weapon is a spear. Spears are fucking awesome. They're the best weapons ever. The other surprise to me was switching with Atreus, because when you have a game where you're mostly just one character and you suddenly throw someone in the other shooter character, it can be good or bad. Example would be bad would be Spider-Man. So it's Miles Spider-Man, the 2018 one, where hey, you like being the superhero guy? Here's 2 people who have no superpowers and you have to play with them more than once. Those were annoying, but in this, when you switch to Atreus, it never felt like I was like, oh man, I want to get back to playing as Kratos. It's like, oh well, playing as Atreus is different but also fun. And considering how the game ends, I was expecting that there might be a spin-off game. Maybe there might be. I don't know. There might be DLC or stuff, because like I'm gonna be bouncing around with this story because this game was so long and there's so much like. I should put it on my mouse and just so people know that it's God of War. There goes the brain. Considering that at the end of the game that Atreus wants to go and find the rest of the giants' souls that are sealed in the marbles, that could be DLC, that could be a spin-off game. We'd be interested to see what they go with that. And even when the next God of War is, because this was the last of the Norse mythology stuff. I mean, the most obvious places would be possibly Egypt, maybe? But all those ones, I am totally fine waiting for. But it definitely there's a lot to still do in that game, which I still made doing post stuff on stream or off stream. Even having some of the boss fights with like Atreus was also just so much fun. Like, especially like the first time you face 4 and then the last time you face 4. And like I kind of like, here's a good example of Couch Grove. Kratos was an asshole in the other games. He would kill people without anything ever think about it. And seeing this, I mean, they showed a bit in the previous, but showing this game where like pretty much at least most of the main gods as he was facing, Kratos doesn't kill any of them. Like, he doesn't kill 4. Odin ends up killing 4 out of anger, and you don't kill Odin. Surprisingly, Sindri did. Fuck. It's sad that he the twist where I'm still trying to work out how he did it. And there's probably videos explaining them. I need to look at that. Of Tyr actually being Odin this whole time in disguise. Was like, what? I saw a video about that mask that he was trying to collect. Apparently it was just a coincidence that it looked like the mask from, you know, Mask. It was just, they would just made sense for it, apparently. But sorry. I think one of the key things I'm glad they didn't do, because it was I honestly feel like it was brave of them to not kill Kratos, because so many people were expecting it and they didn't do it, which I'm glad they did, because it was just like kind of too obvious. Because when it comes to people theorizing a lot of stuff, when it comes to anything, movies, TV shows, video games, people get a bit annoyed when it doesn't pan out the way they saw it, and that's kind of on them for assuming it would. I mean, the other thing of like switching your companion as well, like having like either Brock or Freya in combat was fun. Finding different companions, because that's something they improved on the previous God of War game, was AI companions in old games, especially during the PS3, were almost dog shit. But God of War 2018 with Atreus never felt like they felt like a very useful companion, and it's even more so the same in Ragnarok. And even going to different realms was such a fun. Even going to the same realms but different areas of those realms was fun. Like, cause each realm is like a sizable map. It's weird that God of War isn't. It's not open world, but kind of is. It definitely, I will say another thing, it did feel like it was blowing itself out. Like, I mean, you saw on stream when one of those ghost guys came up and it was like, could you help me? I was like, no. Because I just wanted to get to the end. And I've said this before, it's a problem with the gaming machine in general. It's developers, it's more publishers, or whoever decides to make a game way too long than it necessarily needs to be. Is listening to those assholes on the internet say, oh, well, this game's only $60, £60, and it's only fucking 10 hours, it should be hot, it should be cheaper. And there's a fear of people not buying a game that's short, so they try and make it longer to value the price, and I've always said this. Production value should want the price, not length of time. What I usually mean is how many people worked on it, how big or in depth, or how much detail on the game. Not saying games that don't do that are lesser games, but there's a reason that games like Stray are cheap, because it was probably made by a small development team. And something like God of War, well, it wasn't. But I really hope, like, somewhat goes away. I'm kind of saying like, well, Sonic Frontiers wasn't full price. It was something like, I think I got it for £50. It was around, you could beat that in like 20, maybe even less than that games, and it's an open world game. Actually, I need to pee, so I'm going to be back in a moment and get back my thoughts about God of War Ragnarok. My brain went dead. Another thing about God of War, the story stuff, just like, I mean, people like to say the original God of War didn't have any emotion in it. I feel like God of War 3 there was some like deep emotional stuff in it, but not that much. This one having so much just basically human moments with Kratos and him more so trying not to be his old self. Like the fight with Heimdall, that one him sort of like slowly almost progressing back to his old ways of just killing someone out of anger and not without reason or without force. That was another fun, interesting boss fight thing at Heimdall one, because you had to like use some. I don't really use very much. That's my burden. Oh, and music. Like, I mean, all these games here, like Sonic, Frontiers, Bayonetta, all have. And even Splatoon does as well. Just, I've always said there's three things that make a really good game, and that is music, story, and gameplay. And fucking God of War. But I think what I also love, I do like games with serious stories, but I do like games that can also speak a little bit of humor in there, and just there being some fun moments, especially with the Skrill guy was fun. I saw some clips on like TikTok. There's some other funny moments that I didn't see, like Mimir asking Kratos what he want to eat after Ragnarok, and he goes olives. He goes, what the hell is an olive? Stuff like that. Because it was good to have a bit of humor built in, or like Atreus like mimicking his father when he's on his own. Boss, that's not, I did say about also fights, but think about them even more like the scale of them, just like the overtold. It's like fighting the giant dog, the giant wolf thing. That one is like boss fights in like old God of War games, because there wasn't much of those big scale boss fights in God of War 2018 outside, like I said, the dragon and at the end. But it's not one of those ones I can't wait to see what they do, but I think can kind of wait until whatever the next one's going to be. Lazarus Theory is actually Egypt, but I saw a video about God of War, and it's actually a comic that kind of bridges between God of War 2018 and God of War 3. And he actually went to Egypt, but he was only there like shortly. It's where the story about him trying to get rid of the chaos, the blades of chaos, and then suddenly returning so he can't get rid of them, sort of thing. Yeah, I doubt anything's gonna pop in my brains that I might have missed from these games I wanted to put out. Also, some of these I didn't play on stream is one thing I also learned from doing 7 years of Let's Play content. Is it's always important to play games for myself, because if I keep playing everything on stream, it's an easy way to get burned down. Because I'm also playing something else myself, because for Christmas I got No More Heroes 3 for PS5, because I know I'll play one better. And I'm having fun with that, and I'm glad I played it for myself, because it's good to have a little fun. I guess because someone's going to be wondering why, like, oh, I've got music playing. I was fucking River City Girls. I didn't play River City Girls 0 because it's like a prequel, and I'm always like kind of iffy in prequels. I wanted playing them onto playing them. Okay, I think that's it. Did play that? Don't have VR, so we want to play. I still got the spoiler thing up. I'm not spoiling anything anymore. Yeah. Speaking of. Again. That's right. Like that. Over here. Oh, I see. I know. I see what's happening. Yeah, it's not visible. I've seen some like clips and videos from the VR version, which actually looks kind of fun. It makes me kind of want to get VR, but I've never touched VR because I'm always worried about getting motion sickness. I don't want to spend all that money on something that's just gonna make me sick all the time. But sometimes I feel like I should just take the plunge. Might do that. Yeah, didn't play because I didn't see the point of it. Like, that's not one of those games. I get the joke of it being free, even though that's been a 2. It's one of those ones like, didn't we see there needed to be a sequel? Didn't play. Ah, here we go. Pokemon Scarlet Violet, a game I did also play for myself. Because I was already playing God of War and I didn't want to play too many new games on stream. And this is going another one that's going to maybe piss people off. Now, I will preface this. People are going to go, oh, you put this on here when it was glitched and broken and all that. I didn't run into those problems. Like, it's always one of those current problems of games like these. Of like, I think the similar situation would have been Mass Effect Andromeda. That launched with loads of glitches and issues, which I did not run into when I originally played it. And same goes with this. Outside of some small frame rate issues, as I said before, did the con here outweigh the pros of it? For me, no. The slight frame rate stuff didn't really bother me that much. Oh god, there goes the brand line. I mean, for that their first open world game, like Sonic Frontiers being its first open world game, just amazing. Like, another reason I didn't also play Pokemon Arceus Legacy is just because it looked like ass. Oh no. I thought the stream was lagging again. Oh, my heart skipped a beat there. This, in my opinion, color-wise, looked amazing. Like, just beautiful colors. Having the Pokemon be in the world and moving around and then being, you know, just... Yeah, I guess. My brain. The Pokemon being in the world and being able to see them and watch them interact. I think one of the funniest things I always saw was that Voltorb would literally explode every time you went near it. And you know, the sound of the sound's been fun and kind of some hilarious. I like the dog that's just like a bun, and then when it evolves, it's a toasted bun. Having different three different like kind of like main story stuff was actually fun too. One thing I would say, like I said this before, I hate games where they don't have a way of indicating which way is the right way, and this one it does. Like every time you put a waypoint out and you dropped out of the game, the character will point in the direction you go, so you know which way it's going. And it had one of those things I liked in open world games, which is the same with Sonic Frontiers, to be fair, was always that, oh, what's over there sort of thing. Like, oh, I want to go over there, explore. Great stories. Each of these stories really been really good. The gym battle's been gym battle stuff, but having your rival who's basically Goku. Let's be honest, she is. Because she always wants to challenge you when you're the strongest, kind of like Goku was changed in fights. Then the herb ones, because it's one of those that starts off like, oh, what's he want? Why does he want these herbs? And find out he just wants to help his sick Pokemon, which was kind of sweet. And then the best part of the story, I think, is the one with Team Star. Because I mean, they've pretty much like gone away from the evil organization thing since Sun and Moon, but I think this is the best version of it, of being that they formed the team because they were getting bullied, and then they got then there was a misunderstanding. They got blamed for an incident that happened that wasn't their fault, and even like I love the director like going into disguise and it's clearly obviously him, and him realizing. Because the bullying is a difficult topic to talk in, especially in the kids game, which I thought was kind of cool that they weren't like just bad guys; they were just people who were misunderstood and formed a group to help themselves. And then just so many great like emotional moments. The other open would say this is like a perfect example of why they need voice acting, because so many emotional cutscenes would be more emotional if there was VO. I mean, kind of similar like what they did with Breath of the Wild. Not all completely voice acted, but at least all the cutscenes should be voice acted. You know, so it might do that. The final part with the professor of being with the future Pokemon, and him being like an android the whole entire time. Another example of fucking good music in this game as well, just amazing. And just like I said, like with both Sonic and God of War, it was a game that I was always excited to play. Every time I wasn't playing, I was like, oh man, I can't wait to play more of this. I do think it's funny that people complain about them being too easy, and I was like, it's a fucking kids game. If you want a difficult RPG, there's Elden Ring out there who want that. So I did see online there was like a mod where someone put all the enemies as Pokemon and your character as the Pokemon trainer in Elden Ring, which I thought was kind of fun, kind of hilarious. Another thing I thought was stupid too is that so many people thought that the performance issues that was having was because the Switch was old, and do people not know how game development works? That logic is stupid. By that logic, every game that came out towards the end of the PS4's life cycle should have been hot garbage as well. Though this wasn't for me, like I said, I didn't run into any issues. It isn't necessarily that, because the older your system is, the more better games run, because the developers know the ins and outs of it. And that's always the thing with Nintendo games. Like, they might not always be the most prettiest games, but they are always the most fun. And Pokemon Scarlet, well, I played Violet because I like the only reason I chose Violet over Scarlet was the main reason because the legendary riding Pokemon you use actually uses his fucking wheels. The fucking Scarlet one doesn't. It's just stupid. Why should you have the wheels if you're not going to use them? Because a lot of people didn't like the fact that you could steamroll the Elite Four. I was like, I personally, like I said, I hate games that are forced grinding in it. Like, if you want difficult RPGs, they exist. If they want more challenging RPGs, if you want more challenging turn-based RPG, the Persona games can be like that and more challenging, especially if you high up the difficulty settings on those games. It's just it's people forgetting these games are for fucking kids. But I do still kind of want the Pokemon company to stop analysing Pokemon games. We don't need a Pokemon game every year. But 10 million copies ain't gonna stop them now, is it? My brain. Sorry. I felt pretty good before starting, but now my brain's just trying to. It's like this. I could think of it beforehand. I immediately went through most of the thoughts of all the games before going live. Even the day before, I'm like, got it. Locked in my brain. Mouth. Brain. Not working. It's fucked up. The other thing one thing I will wish they stopped doing is having gimmicks each Pokemon game. I think they completely forgot why the Mega Evolutions worked and why loads of people love them, because it was added a new temporary evolution to some of your favorite Pokemons, and since then they've tried to add something new. And I feel like this version, this one with crystallized version, was the most useless one. Like, I rarely used it. Would probably be an example of one thing. But overall, I still think it was an amazing game. I had so much fun with it. I put it in this category. If it's not most people's, that's fair enough. If you're one of those people who unfortunately run into all those glitches, and like, the game never crashed for me either. Which I'm still trying to work out the issues, because at first I thought it was the versions. Like, I had Violet, so maybe people were running into issues with Scarlet, but then I saw online most people had Scarlet had no issues, but most people had Violet had issues. Was it a regional thing? Was it like the US versions having issues and UK versions weren't having issues? But like I said, but like I said, some more games it definitely had that fun of all what's around the corner stuff. The sandwich making was kind of neat. I actually kind of liked that because it was kind of fun making different sandwiches and it like helped stats and stuff. If you're camping a lot, I will say one thing of like Pokemon. I swear, someone at Game Freak is fucking horny as ass. It's like most of the male human characters looking attractive. Some of the Pokemon, let's be honest, because it's Fun Evolution. They knew what they were doing with that form. I feel like they do it deliberately because they know people are going to make porn of them, and it's going to make it sell you. Because someone's going to go, wait, what's this one? It's from the Pokemon game. Let's fucking play it. Because let's be honest, like Shantae, I love the Shantae games. Didn't play them for that reason. Found out about them when I think it was when Game Grumps used to do something called Grump Cave, and I think Ross O'Donovan was playing with one of the games with them, and that's how I found out about them. But how much I want to bet a high percentage of people who played this Shantae games is because they saw porn of it, and then found out what it was, and then went and played it. So I feel like it could be that case. Well, I chose Spiridia because I like cats. I'm a cat person. I have 2 cats. Well, the family cats, but and I just like to say at Fun Evolution, not for the reasons you think of, because I like the whole magic, like magician aesthetic. This kind of reminds me of like Delphox had like a wizard. Like, hello, what are you doing? A little drink. There you go. I'll always keep my eye on it because I might want to do the room. Nah, just going to the little bed. Get out from under the bed and then you'll be like, you're under the bed. But yeah, I think that's kind of my final thoughts on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I had a lot of fun with it. I had so much enjoyment out of it. I liked the idea of having also fast travel to like every like. But what the other thing is, it's interesting that you add like you so many rare candies or portions of rare candies. So leveling up your Pokemon was like easy. Some did have some annoying let for loose shit way to evolve, which I wish they'd stop doing weird, stupid ways of evolving Pokemon. But yeah, that's that. So what's left? Because we're almost set through this. Yeah, that's that. Didn't play that. Didn't play that. Didn't play that. Play that, didn't play that, didn't play that, did not play that. Miss Cool Ross's Dragon Maid. Wait, there was a. Was there really a Miss Cool Ross's Dragon Maid game? I've got to fucking look this up now. I am looking this up right now. This is piquing my interest now. What's it called? Miss Kerbosh's Dragon Maid. What the hell is this? Oh, it looks like someone is like bullet hell games. I'm assuming this released on oh no, it's on Steam. Yeah, no, yeah, it looks like a. Oh, I see. I see what sort of game this is. Yeah, it is that sort of game where it's like a bullet hell, but there's some of the pictures in the background, the character's clothes come off. Not all of them, but this is an example where they tried to make everything into a game. This is into a game. I mean, the bullet hell's not a bad idea with playing as each dragons, but it's not one I expect to have a video game of. Huh. Yeah, it's basically a bullet hell game. Huh. Neat. Didn't realize that even existed. Wait, I didn't even look when it came. When did it come out? October. Huh. Well, it looks like it was on Steam. Whatever. Okay. Well, didn't play it. Didn't play it. There's the most recent game, which was the Callisto Protocol. Oh, no, wait, why do I have that in my hand? No. Where did, I guess it dropped here somewhere again, didn't it? Yeah, I did play Callisto. This is where things get difficult. I'm gonna put in had fun. Definitely had fun with it. It's like I said, it was their first like game. Well, not the first game in their series. First new game in the series. You know, done by the same people who did, you know, the original Dead Space game. And it says no one's first game is perfect, but I definitely had fun with it. It was very enjoyable. The story, you know, not the most original one. Like I saw most things coming, but definitely enjoyable because I said there's something wrong with generic stories. Sometimes you like this the familiarity. The problem is when you have too much of it is when it can get tiring. As I said again, the game. Dodge mechanic, neat idea when you're facing one enemy at a time, but when you're facing multiple enemies, it got very difficult to try and take them out. Those are stuff like just made me think of Dead Space, which is also cool. But I feel like this game had the same issue, similar issue that, and bear with me, I'll explain why. PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale had fucking mouthful. Is where they didn't want to be too much like Smash, and that's what made it failed. Where they should have just been more like Smash. And that's kind of the same thing as where they wanted to be like Dead Space, but not too much like Dead Space. And I feel like they could have just made it a little bit more Dead Space. Like one thing I said, enough for I like games that add a way of know which direction I gotta go in. Especially with survival horror games, we want to know, is this main story stuff or is this off the beaten path, so you can get more ammo, more supplies, or get unlockables. They didn't have this in this, and it was very annoying to not know where I was going or wasn't going the right path to get any collectibles. And then the health, the fact, I don't know, maybe I missed it or maybe I didn't look hard enough, but there wasn't anything that upgraded your, you know, once you got your suit of armor, there's something to upgrade like in Dead Space. So not necessarily increase in health because how would that look on the health bar things, but you know, like at least you do a little bit less damage or something to that effect would have been quite good. I mean, there's obviously probably going to be a sequel, but it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And it has at least got me intrigued, I would say. I'm intrigued to see where it goes. But like I said, it had a lot of fun. The horror elements definitely did good in I can't say it, like spooky stuff. So there was some cheap jump scares, but not too many of like jump scare after jump scare like most horror games tend to do. I haven't been spoiling thing up, but I guess so I forgot about that. Like I said, the stuff like where it's like evil organization who's behind this thing is kind of similar to like with Dead Space 2 with the I forgot what it's called now. And then trying to create like the perfect human, felt very Resident Evil action, I think, especially when you have like the guy that starts slowly mutating this creature, then at the end transforms to a horrifying creature. at the end was kind of like obvious going to happen. Like I could see it like becoming like Marvel, but it was still cool the same because it's like how grotesque is it going to look is the question. And then the segment with the stealth section wasn't too bad because I've always said I hate games that add forced stealth moments, but in that one it wasn't actually too bad. We managed to get like through most of those sections doing stealth pretty easily enough. Because this is not one of those that I did stream, but yeah, I guess that's kind of it on Callisto. I can't really think of anything else. But I think I might as well put these in here. Didn't play. This was one of the ones I keep debating about playing, either on or off stream. Kind of wanted to play this because I feel this game's really funny. But the point is, a lot of this came out towards the end of December, which was around the Christmas time, so I kind of had to be careful with my money on that. But one of those ones maybe let it down. Same with this is no sequel I was excited for, but it was kind of annoyed that it came out December because. But definitely this is one I'll definitely do on stream because we did do the first one, and maybe in the new year. We might do that one, not immediately, like in January, but because I generally really enjoyed Babysitter Girls one, so I definitely want to do that one. Didn't play, did not play. It's weird how like when you try and measure things in your head, it seems like a lot, and then when you put it out there, it isn't. But it's still more than last year as far as games go. Because everything that's here. Is here, and I mean, there's always I'm thinking about games that weren't out this year that I played that were out the previous years before that. That's what kind of threw me off. And then there was games that were going to be this year, like Hogwarts Legacy. Because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. About 10 games. So it's still more than last year, because I think last year I played like on this course it was Genshin, kind of do story stuff. If this was here, I'd put Genshin somewhere up here with its new region. The whole Sumerian story is really good. I'd put it somewhere like here. Maybe even here. Yeah, these are games that I felt were Game of the Year in my personal opinion. I said it's an opinion. If you don't think either of these are, or some of them were and want, that's totally up to you. This is how I felt these games. Everyone's enjoyment is different, as they say. But yeah, because like last year, I think the only new game I played that was out that year was Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Because I'd finally got a PS5 at that point. I'm trying to save up for it. And next, the thing is, next year's going to be even more. Because like, let's have a look on next year games while we're at it. You know, hang on, I'll switch. There's no sense setting this up because there's not much more to talk about. I definitely want to do more stuff like these because these are kind of fun. I see why a lot of people do them because they are really fun to do. Let's go back to here for a second. Let's have a look and see next year the way of games, because I think once again, since September I've basically been playing new games, and I think next year's no different because in January we've got that I want to play personally is the Dead Space remake. I'm still debating if I want to play it for myself or on stream. Like I said, we're finishing Callisto. I'll see how, because that's at the end of January, so I'll see how I feel towards the end of that. Because if I play as a stream, I know that will take several weeks to beat. If I play it for myself, I could beat in a week. And it's one of those things I'm in a mood for that. We'll see how it goes. It's just called Dead Space, not Dead Space Remake. That's January. Then in February, there's only just one, which is obviously Hogwarts Legacy, where the previous gen console ones have been delayed to the following year not for later in the year, which is just kind of hilarious to me. Because I'm pretty sure that it's still the 10th for the PS5 and PC, and yeah, February 10th. And so I'll show you guys that's basically it. And then March, it actually has 2, if I'm not mistaken. Because March, once again, this is me personally, is Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Resident Evil 4 remake, which will definitely be playing both of those on the stream. Then after that is it, because there's nothing in April. Last the last gen ones was pushed to April, and I think that's the PS4 and Xbox One versions of Hogwarts Legacy. I think the Switch one was pushed to like July, which is I'm trying to see how that runs on the Switch. Yeah, because April is Dead Island 2, and as I said before, not really that in the mood for zombie apocalyptic games, but one of those ones I'll wait. I'll wait to see what the reviews say about it. Then after that, then there's nothing in April, but then May has the whole Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That's the one I'm debating about streaming or playing for myself. And then June is Final Fantasy 16, which I'm not a huge Final Fantasy guy. I've only played like a handful of them, but I am intrigued to see. That's one of those nearer to the time I'll decide. And that's it up to that's it. It means there's still more that could be announced this year, and that's how many games is that so far now that I'm probably going to play. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's only 6, and that's only all the way up to May. That's 6 months into the year, and there's all these that many games, and it'll be interesting to see where the rest of the year goes. But there's still a lot of games that are, TBD, because the games that have been TBD at the moment that I think I want to play that don't have a release yet are Metroid Prime 4 I very much doubt is next year. But that's one of those. Kingdom Hearts 4, very much doubt that is next year. Oh, of course, the second part of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Definitely excited for that. But yeah, that's about it as far as the games go. Where's that brain one going? Go on again, that's where it's going. But yeah, I guess now that we're done with the tier list, I guess we'll talk about 2023, which I am in the little games, but kind of excited for, because I said this before the stream, but I gotta finally get a new model, like a commission model, because like, I mean, it sounds mean to say this, but I feel like this model's been more like the beta model, because I mean, my sisters would probably know that with this is the model she kind of both helped on with, to be fair, because I've said it before, this version, let's get them up now, this version here was the one, did I switch to it? Well, this one here, that's selected here, select there. Is that select? Yeah, I did select it, was done before Void had its 1.1 update. One thing, didn't want to click that. And then this one was after the update, where I tweaked it a little bit. All I tweaked was the face and the eyes and the little bit, so it's not that much different. So this, and now you did this because at the top, oh, didn't mean to click that. Was the fact that I was unemployed, and now that I am employed, I definitely have the means to finally get a model. I will be, but it will be a while, because the commission is not going to start until like the end of January, and it's going to take roughly up to 40 weeks, they said, so it could be a while. But I wanted to wait until next time, but I'm just too excited that it's gonna be sometime next year. So it might not be. But I did do the maths. If it does, it's not a big deal. If it doesn't completed by then, that is basically the week where it'd be the 2-year anniversary. So it would be kind of cool to have that for the 2-year anniversary. But it also the same time not a big deal if I don't. You know, that's kind of what I want to do from next year, like put more into VTubing, rather just in general, because financially I can now, like get a proper like, because I said this overlay I've had for like since I started, because it was free. It was like, okay, it's free, and you get like, I was looking actually, you get like really good, like, especially if you're like me and you're not very good at coming up with ideas. And you don't have any idea what your backgrounds want to be, because I want it to be fantasy, but that's too vague of a description for any artist to do. Looking on there has been kind of helpful. I'm still looking through and see what ones I'll probably want to purchase, and they're really good pricing. Like they're like £30, like animated and everything. I was like, wow, that's pretty good for like overlays and all that stuff. As well as tracking, I do want to do more like tracking, not necessarily full body. I think it's not saying you should run before you can walk. No sense of doing full body tracking if I haven't done just hand tracking. So probably might start off with that. Like I said, this is all new. It's not going to be me this week, like months into the new year, but definitely something I want to do. And I think, like, although I said about focusing on having more fun, I think I definitely want to do it in the sense of like not being afraid to do stuff that isn't outside video games. Like if one day, and if it's not on the schedule, like I always have the schedule show that schedule is subject to change, but I still stick to it too much. And if that day I'm not in the mood to play a video game, and I was like, oh, I have an idea of doing something that isn't video game related, I should just do it. This is about having fun. I think that's one thing I've always noticed with channels that grow. So many people will say, oh, stick to playing the games, doing the exact things you want, blah blah, share this, do that, or all that sort of stuff. And it's one of the things that killed doing YouTube for me, and that's why I just want to focus on fun, not focus too much on growth. But that's why I've seen most channels grow. Most of the ones I've always seen grown over the years would be VTubers, YouTubers, is that they just had fun, did stuff to help grow, of course, but they didn't kill themselves to do it. They just didn't expect to grow. They always say, oh, I didn't expect to grow, like I just did this for fun, didn't expect it to go anywhere, and I don't expect it to go anywhere. And I don't really care if it does or doesn't. As long as I'm having fun, that's what matters. And I don't want to be... Because one of the stupid things I did when I was still doing Let's Play content, I kept thinking it was going to be a job at some point. I never bought stuff that I could have, at the time, afford. But I just did it because it's like, oh, I don't want to get my job. And it's such a stupid mentality. If you've got the... I always say this, if you've got the means to do it, just do it. Like, if you can afford to like get the stuff for streaming... you know, just do it. Because of the thought of it being a job, it may never will be, and sometimes that's an okay thing to do. That's the realize I should come with this year, is realizing that this may never end up being my job, and that is okay. My sister was telling me that a friend of her, she's an artist herself, and a lot of her friends, she has a lot of artist friends, and she was telling me that one of her friends just got one of those like, you know, those giant like tablet things you can just draw on it, because they didn't do it because they thought it'd better their career or anything. They just did it because they could. And I realize that's the same with any hobbies. You buy a better guitar not because you think it will make you a better musician or you'll become a musician star. You do it because you just want a better guitar. The same goes, well, oh. And there's obviously, if you can, you can't. Because when I was, like I said, when I was doing Let's Play content, which was with my real face, I used a green screen. I had this green screen that popped up with a chair, and I could have easily got one of those ones you could have pulled out, but I kept saying to myself, oh, I'll do it when I get my job. Well, that stuff, it's like, but it never did, and I kind of never doing that, and that's what I did this year. I'm just going to get the stuff. Obviously, the stuff I can afford, and not all at once. You don't have to do things all at once. Because it may never end up being your job, and I might never ever just have better equipment because I want better equipment, and not necessarily I think it will make anything better. Because there's also another saying: you can't polish a turd. Better equipment's not going to make you a better streamer. But it's one of those things that's nice to have. Because I remember like an old PewDiePie. It wasn't necessarily quite. He said in the video that there was something along the lines of like, I think it's funny that people buy expensive equipment and then they're like, why am I not famous? And that's always a dumb mentality, that people think that the better stuff they have means the more popularity they'll get, which is stupid because most VTubers, at least independent VTubers, start off with very shitty models and still grow. Because if that was true, you got the highest end model, I've probably got no followers, but I have some, and that's something, right? And I think another thing that was kind of wearing me out was because I've been trying to like do some small things, like was doing best of videos for each month, and I realized trying to edit those for the month after when they come out is tricky, because like the November's one I didn't finish editing that until towards the end of December, because I try and get at the beginning of the following month, and I realized that's just a bad mentality, and it's one of those things I don't want to push myself, put all that time and effort to find that barely anyone watched past the first minute of it. That's one of those ones that I'm going to keep doing, but I think going forward I'm not going to do the best of each month. I'm just going to do best of and just number them instead, and do them when I can and when I feel in the mood, when I feel that editor's spark on a clip. If there isn't anything, there isn't there, and there's not anything that much check, because like the last one I uploaded got like one view, but I think the average, but the viewership was like a minute, and I'd rather take the time and put more effort into it and learn to edit more. Could be fun to do those, so it won't be like every month. Every month now, it'll just be whenever I have the time to do it. Because in between work, doing this, playing games for myself, watching my favorite TV shows and all that, and even watching my favorite streamers. Also another thing, not being afraid to play just one game. Because I mean, through November we played just 2, which was God of War and Sonic Frontiers. And because one of my fans have always done is being known for just that game. That's like, but what if you don't? If you leave when you stop playing a specific game or a specific series, then they want real fans or audiences, right? Because they should be there for you and the games, and not just the games. Because I was thinking about in January of just playing. Wow, my brain's not dead again. I was at The Witcher 3 because I wanted to play that. I'm in the mood. After I finished with God of War Ragnarok, I was like, I'm really in the mood, stream-wise, to play another fantasy-like game. And it's like, oh, I haven't played The Witcher 3. And I was thinking, why not just play it for the entire month, every day, every stream, until my mood. Because I want to play games when I'm in the mood, and not force myself to play a game just for the sake of playing, or not just doing something for the sake of doing it, just to fit in a schedule. And just generally having more fun and doing stuff even outside of just video games. What else? Because I think those are the best kind of streams, where streamers having fun with a game they're really enjoying. Because as far as the stream goes, as far as games, the only games I want to play aren't even out yet. Because like I said, there's Dead Space remake, that's not until the end of January, and there's this smile where just really in the mood for Witcher 3. So probably we'll be doing that for like next week's entire week stream, for how long I feel like I want to do it for. I think another thing I need to be more forceful on, because I got quite a lot of them on stream, was people doing self-promotion, which is one of the rules I don't have, but I didn't do anything about it. And I think I need to learn to be more forceful on those rules, because the rules there for the sample, so to keep the stream good. And I think in future, if any people do break the rules, I'm just going to ban them immediately, because you need to be forceful on this stuff. Because the last thing you want to do is have a stream where lots of people just breaking the rules and make it not fun for everyone else. there's nothing I gotta try and stop worrying about. It's like trying to pause to think. And so that's nothing I need to try and do. Is try myself not to rush myself. And if I want to pause and just take a moment to think what I want to say, I should just do it and not worry too much. And generally, more so this year or next year, which is in 2023, is do it how I want to do it. So trying to compare myself to other streamers. I'm me, and this is how I am. And if people don't like it, they can fuck off. But yeah. Oh, and another thing I want to try and do is one thing I keep getting scared to do is raiding people. I don't know why I'm like that, because it makes just half it's just me, but I just feel like it's still fun to raid people. There's nothing that's weirdly fun to do. I'm not sure why, but it is. And I've got to stop being afraid, regardless of the size of the streamer. And I think a good way of doing that is doing it starting off by doing it in Saturdays, on the weekends. Saturday streams to ease myself into raiding someone, even if there's just 1 or 2 people here. And as far as like follow goes, I don't think I'm really going to do one for this year, because that's another thing that can also bring you down. One of the things that killed doing YouTube was constantly putting those milestones, thinking because you're a years long time, definitely going to hit it, and not hitting it. Like I said, when I did YouTube, it took me 4 years just to hit 100 subscribers, and I was doing all the shit that helped grow, and that's why I wanted to try it. Now that I found something that's even more fun at doing this, I just want to focus on doing that and not worry too much on goals, because the most obvious goal after 50 is 100. Now, yes, no duh, we'll probably hit that, but what's after that? 500, and that's one I very much doubt I'll hit, and there's no point of putting it if I don't feel like I hit it, because 100 I feel like would hit like in like 2, maybe 3 months, but then you'd want to put another one after that, another one after that. Which I very much doubt, or at least I hope. Like I said, one of the ways it's best to hope rather than expect, because then you feel less disappointed. Than if you expect it to happen. But if we do somehow have some splurge and growth, then maybe I will. If I feel like it's a doable milestone, then I'll pull it. But if I don't think it is, I'm not going to pull it. Simple as that, because it's better for my mental health, is why I'm putting that. Because it's always important to take care of your mental health at time from time to time. And like I said, if I put something on the schedule that I thought I was in the mood to, and then I wasn't by the time I go live, then I shouldn't be too worried about not wanting to do it. If I want to do something else, then I will do something else, and I'll always put it in Discord and the this is an example of why but music Pokemon Scarlet Sucker. But this is one of those ones you could tell was done by, because Toby Fox did some music, but this is one of the ones we could tell that it was done by Toby Fox. I guess the streams. I guess that's yeah. I guess you get all my thoughts. I'll probably they'll probably end up kicking Wednesday. So basically, schedule should be back to normal. His work's back to normal, so there shouldn't be any issues with the schedule next week. Obviously, as usual, I put in Discord if anything does change, or on the Twitters. But yeah, been, like I said, this year's somewhat good in my opinion. Not amazing, not terrible, just kind of good. And 2023 might be amazing. But all the same, I appreciate everyone who stopped by. I hope you have a good rest of the day, or whatever time zone it may be. And I have a happy new year. And I think we will actually raid someone for the first stream, because there's like going like I'm like, well, I did say new year. It's not the new year yet. Who's actually live right now? Who actually followed God? Hey, Zen. It's always a I'll just go to here now, and because when Here goes Zen. I'm gonna raid Zen Treya. Because I actually kind of want to watch what she's doing for the end of the year thing. Probably this song is way more entertainment than I am. Oh. That's weird. Huh, says I was unable to raid. Maybe she's got it switched off. Fair enough, okay. Guess where it is then. Who's playing Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets? Well, she played that, yeah. I keep forgetting that. I keep forgetting we played all the Harry Potter games this year, which was a lot of fun. And I actually have ideas of playing other, like, licensed games in old licensed games in the new year as well. But we'll get to those when those happen. Huh. It's unable. Maybe it's not that. Huh. Should try something. Oh, never mind. You were unable to raid. Never mind. Okay, I guess we'll try it next week. But I will try and do more raiding streams afterwards. But like I said, I'll do it on the Saturdays to ease myself into doing it. Because it's nerve-wracking doing those for some reason. I can't wait to put my finger on why. But yeah. As I said, see you on Wednesday, we'll see you on Wednesday for... Oh, excuse me. For God of War. Not God of War. God damn my brain. For... The Witcher 3, there we go. That's it. There, I clicked in again. I'm gonna stop before I go around in circles again.